Hey, what up? What up? We are back again, and today's Throwback Thursday film is Rocky 4. So, I am a big fan of the Rocky franchise, grew up on it, loved it. Rocky 1 is a classic, 2 is great, 3, Clubber Lang is great. 4 is just really a classic film. And I think 5 was a misstep, and then 6 was obviously, really good, Rocky Balboa. So we're going to focus today on Rocky 4. So Rocky 4 is probably the most absurd out of all of the Rocky films, just based on how it was set up. It's such a fun movie, and it's such a great movie, but it gets absurd. So you have Rocky, who's been a champion for a while, and he's kind of getting up there in age, and Russia has this fighter, this superhuman fighter by the name of Ivan Drago, who's coming over to, he wants to fight an exhibition with Rocky. And instead of fighting Rocky, Apollo wants to step in, and Apollo's been long retired at this point. But he wants to step in and he wants to fight Drago before Rocky does. And it's this huge spectacle, and they get James Brown to do the intro, and it's this whole thing. It's supposed to be an exhibition. Drago is clearly on steroids. The guy hits 1,800 pounds, like it's just nuts. Like the whole thing is just really absurd. And so we get this exhibition fight between Drago and Apollo, and it goes terribly wrong, and Apollo ends up dying, which, spoiler, is gives us our lane into Creed, future Creed movies. But Apollo dies. Rocky feels that it was his fault. He didn't throw the towel in. And now he's ready to face Drago. But he's got to face him in Russia on Christmas. And for me, like I said, I absolutely love this film. But looking at it now as a grown man versus, when I was younger when this film came out, and as I was kind of getting older, kind of growing with it, the big question that I have for this film, okay, so Drago, he's on steroids, he's superhuman, all of that. He beats Apollo to death inside of what, 2 or 3 rounds. Okay, fair enough. That happened. It's a done deal. How in the hell is Rocky able to survive 15 rounds of the same man who's probably trained 10 times harder for this particular fight? And majority of the blows that he's taken is to the head. He survives 15 rounds of getting pounded in the head by Drago and ends up winning. And I know, in the next one after that, there's potential brain damage and things like that. But the same man killed Apollo inside of 3 rounds. Rocky went 15 rounds. Rocky's much smaller than Apollo Creed. But I get it. That's why I say it's just so absurd. When you really look at it, I think every blow that Ivan wanted to land on Rocky, he landed it, and Rocky kept coming. Obviously Rock has a great heart, and he's built off of heart mostly. Not necessarily skill. He developed some skill when he trained with Mickey, and then when he went on to train with Apollo Creed a little bit later on, and then Duke after that. But Rocky was always kind of built off of heart. Like, you really got to take his heart. But to be able to survive what he was able to survive is just crazy, and still win the fight. But you got to kind of suspend that belief and just go into it and just watch it. But every time I watch it now, that's like one of the main things that I think of. Like, how? If Apollo couldn't survive it, how in the world did Rocky survive 15 rounds of it? It's really just crazy to think about, but great film. You know, obviously Sly was at the top of his game with the Rocky franchise as a whole. Rocky Five was Rocky Five was probably the lowest point. Um, Rocky One, Rocky Two, Three, and Four were just he was on to something. He was on to something. So trying to come behind four, and then you kind of go back to Rocky's roots and things with five, and him training a up and coming boxer. Just it was a miss. So I understood when he came out years later with Rocky Balboa to kind of tie everything together the way he wanted to. Um, Sly's a great storyteller, a great writer. So I mean, Rocky Balboa was a fitting into that franchise, and then to see him step into the Creed franchise years later and continue that character, because Rocky's such a lovable character. He's such a good-hearted person, you know, someone that you want to root for. So, you know, you watch these films, and of course you're rooting for Rocky to win, but him against Drago was insane. But Drago was a great character, gave us Dolph Lundgren, and we were able to kind of see that play off in Creed 2, with Dolph and his son kind of coming back to take on Adonis and Rocky in Adonis's corner. So that was a great bridge for that. Like, we needed Rocky 4 to be able to get to Creed and so on. So yeah, man, Rocky 4 is definitely one of those films that I really enjoy, but it is utterly absurd when you really watch it. But you know, we watch movies to get away and to escape, and throwing back to Rocky 4 is no different. So just enjoy it. Don't put too much thought into it. But seriously, how did Rocky survive 15 rounds?